So I'm here with Pearl. We're playing in our little play corner, which I have had set up for some time and have really revisited lately after having Tara through to look at my home and my spaces and how they function. And it's been a really conscious creation in our home, this little corner of my kids. And because I want play to be invited out of the bedrooms and into our living space, but I also don't want to compromise that space feeling really good and nourishing for me and my values, and for it feeling really beautiful. So I guess I want to talk a little bit about some of the toys that I have in that space and how I feel good when I look at them and my kids feel good when they play with them. So it's like the win-win. It's not like the toys overtaking the whole house and that visceral sense of overwhelm that we tend to get in our nervous system when it is too much. So knowing what our boundaries are around toys in the living spaces and toys in the public spaces, and then working with our children around our boundaries with that in a way that they can respect and learn the importance of noticing and respecting other people's spaces and their values, at the same time as feeling celebrated in being able to explore what they love in a way that's really welcomed in the home. And so if you have a little look-see, you can see, oh, here's Pearl having a little crawl around. I've got a little basket of toys just for her there on the floor. So she's at the age now where she's really wanting to take things apart and explore and really be really tactile with touching and you know, putting everything in her mouth. And so it means that everything that's out now has to be safe. But this is our little corner, and so here we've got the that's the Grimm's Rainbow. It's a Steiner piece or a Waldorf piece, and that was something that Sylvie got for her first birthday. And I love it. I love looking at it, and I love all of the ways in which it can be played with. So it can be, you know, a tower that can be knocked down. It can be a series of bridges with like, what's the word? Like scarves woven through it. It can be, oh, I don't know, my kids have used it for so many things. And I love it because it looks like almost like an ornament in my home, but it's a fantastic open-ended, beautiful toy at the same time. Then my kids have got, we've got all these little animals here. So like these are like all of these dinosaurs and other animal creatures, and like my kids just grab them. Even Hugo does, who's nearly 7, grab them, and they just, the imaginative play that comes from having these here, almost like a provocation. It's like a prepared environment from a Montessori point of view that is there as an invitation for them to play how they would love to play. And then possibly one of my most favourite things that I have out all of the time is magnetiles. So these are the like these connecting, you know, those magnet ones. So these are the ones, the original magnetiles, which I chose to get because there is a risk with toys like this that they can break and that the magnets can become ingested. And so I really didn't want that to happen. So they are ideally, you buy the better quality ones, and that they are you know, used with supervision. Like for example, at the moment Pearl is here with one in her hand, which is about to go in her mouth, so I don't leave her with those unless I'm there. And what else have we got up the top? So away from where Pearl can reach is a bunch of crystals. And if you watched our Insta stories yesterday, Sylvie wanted to create a tea party and like comes to here and like chooses a selection of crystals that she wants to put in her cups of tea. And so I totally love it because it becomes something lovely for me to look at in, you know, when I'm out kind of taking out the washing or just, you know, doing all the things, and my kids get to really enjoy it too. So when we think about our spaces and toys and feeling overwhelmed, there's a way to find a win-win. There always is. It's just about really sinking into what feels good for us and how we want the space to represent our values, and how we can work with our kids and find that place where everybody feels good. And therefore, because it becomes not just family stuff out here, it becomes kids stuff that they're responsible for. It then really helps embed in them the responsibility of taking care of it and how we can like work together to put it away, how we feel when it is neat and how we feel when there is order in this space, because I certainly notice how much more calm, centered and balanced they are when the space that they're in and when the space that they're playing in has a level of order in it. And this is something that I really noticed when my son was in Montessori, was how much more pride he took in his things and therefore in everything that he was touching, because there was a reverence for its place, its function and its purpose. And I think that when we can cast that lens across our home and look with more discernment around what's there, what its purpose is, what am I getting out of it, what are my kids getting out of it, what is the investment that I'm making in this. So very often everything that we bring into our house comes not only with an acquisition cost, it comes with a cost to maintain, to look at, and how that can then be distraction for us. If we're having to look at it all the time, it becomes one more bit of information that we're having to work through in our consciousness. And so it's not just the cost of the item at the shop, it's all of the cost of holding it beyond the monetary sense. And so thinking about everything that you're looking at in your day, in your space, and asking yourself what it's there for, what it's giving you, what it's giving your kids, and whether it needs to be there anymore, or could it be more functional in some other way. So this is one little corner of toys and using toys for both beauty and function, and keeping play a centerpiece of the home. I don't think that we need to have all the toys in the bedrooms, but I do think that it's about asking yourself what the function of this is in the living space, and does it feel good for you, because I think it's fair that it can feel both good for your kids and good for you, that you don't have to give up and relinquish the home because kids' toys are everywhere. I don't think that that necessarily serves you, and I don't think it necessarily serves them either. I think that there's a level of overwhelm that comes with children when there is so much toys. It almost becomes like an addiction of pulling out the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, whereas what they really need is kind of less. So asking yourself how you can bring that down to less and more beauty and more function in your home and living spaces. I'll also show you over here, since we're on the topic of toys and function, when Tara came and did our living space, she had the genius idea, once I had realised how much crap was in my cupboards, we turned one of our main cupboards into a Lego cupboard. So you can see here, it's like another space for my son to keep all of his Lego that I can just close up, and that he can know is a space to put the things that he's made and wants to hold on to for a while, or wants to set up. And so that is there, and therefore another place for him to have the things that he loves in our living space, but that it also works for the rest of the family, because we're not looking at it all the time, and it's not sitting broken on the floor or kicked off a table for Pearl to inhale. So I would love to know if any of these insights or reflections are helpful to you in terms of looking at your space and how you can feel a little bit more liberated in your space and a little bit more spaciousness for what matters most to you. And this is certainly what we're going to be diving much deeper into in Soul Driven Motherhood this month. So we've got a workshop with Tara next week, next Thursday, and there'll also be a downloadable workbook that we're going to be popping in there to help you do like an audit of your space and really check in with what feels good and where your edges are, and where they're edges for growth for you, and that kind of stretching that you want to stretch into versus stretching that's asking you for boundaries or clarity around how you want your space to function for you and your family. Thanks for watching. See ya.